Hello guys, so today I'm going to talk about different types of bonds in chemistry. There are 4 different chemical bonds. The most important ones are ionic bonds and covalent bonds, and after that we have metallic bonds and hydrogen bonds. So first of all I'm going to talk about ionic bonds. Ionic bonds usually happens between metal and non-metal. In this case, non-metal lose an electron, which we will call cation, and metal will gain an electron, which is called anion. Usually non-metals lose electrons because they have extra electrons in their outermost shell, and metals gain electron because they're missing electrons in their outermost shell. Ionic bonds are the strongest bonds because they do not share, they lose or gain electron. Therefore, they are the most strongest bonds. Next, we have covalent bonds. So covalent bonds happens between non-metal and a non-metal. And how is that? Basically, they share electrons. So both of the non-metals, they lack electrons in their outermost shell, and in order to become complete, they need to share electron. Covalent bonds are also strong, but not as strong as ionic bonds because they share electron and they don't lose or gain electrons. However, they're the most common bonds. Also, within covalent bonds, there are 2 subtypes, which are called polar and nonpolar. Now, what do we mean by polar and nonpolar? So polar happening when electronegativity difference is high. What does that mean? So each atom has a specific electronegatiivity. Therefore, if I subtract these electronegativities from each other and their difference is high, that bond's called polar covalent bond. But if they have the same electronegativity, which usually happens within the same elements, or they have like a really small difference, we call them nonpolar covalent bonds. Here is the periodic table showing the electronegativity of each element. As you can see, electronegativity increases as we go from the left side of the periodic table to the right side, and as we go from top to bottom, it will decrease. So basically, electronegativity in periodic table from top to bottom in groups, it decreases, and in periods from left to right, it increases. So I'll give you an example here. If you can see at the right top of the periodic table, we have fluorine, which has electronegativity of 4, and at the left top of the periodic table, I have hydrogen, which has 2.1 electronegativity. So if I subtract the electronegativity of each of these two from each other, so 4 minus 2.1, which gives me 1.9, and this 1.9 tells me that there will be a polar covalent bond between these two. Next, we reach to metallic bonds. What are metallic bonds? Usually metallic bonds happens between 2 metals. What's that? It's a force of attraction between valence electrons and the metal ions. What are valence electrons? There are the electrons at the outermost shell. So, sharing of many detached electrons between many positive ions, where the electrons act as a glue, giving the substance a definite structure. So as you can see in the picture, we have metal ions, and they have free electrons in their outermost shell. Metallic bonds are also strong bonds. Next, we reach to hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds is attractive force between the hydrogen attached to an electronegative atom of one molecule and an electronegative atom of a different molecule. There are also strong bonds, but they are weaker than ionic and covalent bond. Look at the picture here. So we have 3 molecules of water, which is H2O, and as you can see, there is hydrogen bond between H of one water molecule and an oxygen with another water molecule. However, between the hydrogen within the same water molecule and the oxygen in the same water molecule, there will be covalent bond, of course, but between the hydrogen of another molecule and oxygen of a different molecule, that would be hydrogen bonds. That's why they are weaker.